Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
The Doctor of Discernment is now online.
You know, much like my show, in that it's a local reaction to things that are happening on a federal level.
Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Wow, do I have a boatload of stuff for you, from the crazy to the absurd. Let's start getting into it because, I mean, it is bizarro world out there. And I say, if it's obvious to me, should be obvious to everybody. Oh, wow. Who could have seen this coming?
This is the Fourth Hour with Greg Belfrage.
Hold on to your butts.
Broadcasting from my basement bunker beneath Keller Radio. Welcome to the Fourth Hour. Hope you had a great weekend. Good to have you along this morning. President Trump is, and I talked about this on the air this morning. President Trump saying yesterday, House Republicans should vote to release any and all files related to Jeffrey Epstein. He said, because we have nothing to hide. And it's time to move on from this Democrat hoax perpetuated by radical left lunatics in order to deflect the great success of the Republican Party. So the president on True Social really pushing, saying, let's release the Epstein files. Let's do this. Let's get it off the table. Let's move forward. In other words, he doesn't want to be distracted by this any longer. And there are a number of different pieces on this. Matt Vespa's got a piece over at townhall.com talking about it. And he says, you know, Trump did himself no favors by calling the whole story a hoax. Russian collusion was a hoax. This is not. And he said, was it also true that not every document in this plethora of documents is legitimate? The Democrats' latest attempt to pivot to this story following, you know, their loss in the shutdown fight, I think really kind of shows it to be a sham. And that's what Matt Vesper writes. So he writes, Trump sees the blitz coming. He's going to set up a screen to nullify the pass rush. Trump knows the play. The Democrats are going to sink too deeply into all the inaccuracies within the files. They will push something wrong. The media will run with it. Trump's team will be ready to slap it down. So I also think I have understood where the president is coming from. The president thinks the whole Jeffrey Epstein thing is a hoax. He's not backing off of that. What he is doing now is saying, let's get this off our plate. Let's take care of this. Let's release all of these files. Let's make everything public. Everybody's going to see I've got nothing to hide. Everything's out there. And let's just absolutely dilute this, which I think is smart. And in no way is that a change from what Trump has said. He thinks the media and the Democrats are using it, as well as some Republicans. There are some Republicans who have really grasped onto this as well. And Trump is saying the whole thing is a hoax. But okay, let's release all the files and everybody will see then that it's a hoax. Whether that's going to, when it comes to those who are just fixated on Donald Trump, I don't believe for a moment this will ever satisfy him. I don't think anything would ever satisfy them. Seriously. I just don't believe that. It'll be one thing, then it'll be another. It'll be something else, be just on and on. It'll just go on ad nauseum. But Trump is right. And I think especially right now, as you know, you and I were talking last week about affordability, you know, as these issues of affordability are out there and the president's trying to bring folks to focus on that and what can we do to lower costs. I think it's right to get the attention of the country off of Jeffrey Epstein and that whole thing. Again, I'm not saying that, and this is what Matt Vespa, the comments I was sharing with you, I think we all understand that Epstein was just a despicable human being. We all understand that, what he did. The question, the political question, has been whether Trump was involved. And that's what a lot of people have been pushing, the issue that Trump was involved, despite there is absolutely no evidence of that. There's just none. So releasing the Epstein files and Trump saying, okay, I'm getting out of the way here. Go ahead and release all these files, let them out, let everybody see them, and then we can stop with this hoax. It seems to be what President Trump is saying, and it makes good sense. So he has changed his position here in the last few days on that. The president also, there was an interview the president did with GB News. It's over in the UK. And the president tearing into the BBC's editing, deceptive editing of his January 6th speech. Now, the news this morning is that over the weekend, Trump was saying he'll be suing the BBC likely for anywhere between $1 and $5 billion with a B, $1 and $5 billion. So he's going after the BBC, just like we've seen him go after CBS, just like we've seen him go after ABC in this country, going after the BBC. And the president was talking about the BBC's deceptive editing. And he said he received the apology. And he said, they wrote me a nice letter. We apologize. But when you say it's unintentional, I guess if it's unintentional, you don't apologize. He said the BBC is beyond fake. Fake news was a great term. It's not strong. It's not strong enough. This is beyond fake. This is corrupt what they did. So then he was talking about his he says he feels an obligation to sue for $1 billion or more. Again, between $1 and $5 is the number that he put out there a few days ago. He said, I think we have an obligation to do it. We'll find out how many other times they have done it to other people, the president said. And then he's wondering if the BBC has done this to you figures in the UK. Have they done it to your prime minister? Have they done it to Nigel Farage? So he also he was talking about Europe and the state of Europe. Borders are a big issue in Europe. So the president talked about that. They're uncontrolled borders. He said, I'm so saddened to see what's happened in Europe with the immigration. Your immigration is going to destroy you if you get people from the wrong people. So the president really ratcheting down on the BBC for that. And again, I mentioned to you last week, it was trending that the BBC was apologizing to Trump, but they were refusing to pay him any money. So it's, well, we apologize, but no, we're not going to give you any money. We caused you no harm. And the president clearly disagrees with that. You and I were talking earlier this morning. I just think this is incredible, this story with Michelle Obama saying Friday that she won't run for president because Americans aren't ready for a woman president. Bull hockey. Just absolutely untrue. So she said, as we saw in this past election, sadly, we ain't ready, she said. That's why I'm like, don't even look at me about running. Oh, thank God. That's a, woo, thank you. Oh, we appreciate it. Where do we send our thank you letters to Michelle Obama for not running? She says, don't look at me about running because you all are lying. You're not ready for a woman. You are not. You know, we've got a lot of growing up to do. Well, she clearly does. That whole thing is just absolutely wild. I mean, I heard that. I have no problem with voting for a woman for president. I have no problem electing a black president. I mean, you know, those were all the criticisms that, you know, as to why Kamala Harris didn't win election. It's, America's not ready for a black woman. America is not ready for a woman. nonsense. It was the fact that she couldn't string together a sentence and talk about make it very understandable what her policies were, what she would do. And when she did, it was pretty disturbing stuff. When she was able to put together a sentence, and you could understand it, you'd go, wow, not a version of America that I embrace. And it was her ideas that America rejected. There's an interesting piece at foxnews.com this morning. Newt Gingrich has written a piece talking about the America's growing national affordability crisis. This issue of affordability has become the story of the past week. And Gingrich says Americans have delivered the same message in the last two elections: make life affordable again. They're tired of working harder for less, while the cost of everything, from housing to education to insurance, keeps rising. He said the affordability crisis touches every household, and its biggest driver is the one Washington refuses to tackle seriously: healthcare. This is what Gingrich is saying. That you've got to, healthcare right now consumes about 1/5 of the national economy. It's the largest single cost for employers, he writes. The fastest growing burden on families and the quietest drain on national growth. Every dollar businesses spend on bloated healthcare, health costs, is a dollar not available for higher wages, new jobs, investment. He's absolutely right about that. And he says it's not that Washington ignores healthcare. He's just saying their approach is all wrong. He said even supporters of Obamacare now admit the Affordable Care Act turned out to be unaffordable. Their answer is to borrow more money to prop up a system that keeps getting worse. Yeah, I never understood that. Okay, the system doesn't work, so we want more money, and we want to put more money into Obamacare. The whole thing is just wrong. Gingrich says that's not reform, it's surrender. And then he says there are three truths both parties must face. The system is too expensive and locked in a pattern that guarantees it'll grow more affordable every year. Second, 60 years of bureaucratic control, public and private, have utterly failed to contain costs. Third, we must build a new model that relies on patients, doctors, and employers. This is why you've got, I think, a number of doctors who were out there who do not take insurance. You pay them. Get insurance out of it, and you pay them directly. And it's amazing. You start doing that, costs have gone down. But Gingrich concludes this. And again, you can find the whole thing at foxnews.com. He says, if America truly wants to make life affordable again, healthcare transparency is where we start. It's bold, it's achievable, and it's the single biggest step we can take to restore prosperity for working families. And I really appreciate this. I think Newt Gingrich, and we saw this during the time that he was, serving in Congress and in the House of Representatives, Speaker of the House. I just think really showed a lot of leadership and a lot of bold thinking. Also, and I happened to see this one at the New York Post. The NFL. I have stopped paying attention to the NFL. Really, the only time I mention it, unless it's just something huge, some huge story I can't ignore. But as a fan, I don't watch NFL football, haven't for a long time. So you have the first NFL game played in Spain, right? First ever NFL game in Spain. New York Post says NFL fans were left outraged by the rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner before Sunday's game in Madrid So what happened? An American pop singer who performed the U.S. anthem. She wore a black mini dress with a deep cowl neckline, thigh-high stockings, garters, long gloves, reached her elbows. Her attire is what drew criticism from NFL fans. Nice, but why did she have to dress like a hooker? Said one commenter. And it goes on that you had people. One is who asked, "Why is she dressed like a hooker?" Also, very refreshing to see none of the players kneeling during the anthem, at least on camera. So, I don't know the NFL. For me personally, I think the time has passed for the. It's my time with. I would much rather. I think I've started watching a few games again, and then it's the NFL just insists on being stupid. I mean, every call they make, it's just like, oh man. And just when they start getting kind of pulled back in again, because I love the game. I love the game of football. And you're watching people play are really, really talented athletes, I believe. Man, if we could just keep the politics and the stupid out of football, and I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. All right, my friend, you have made it to the end of the video. That is it. So you are part of my gallery of champions. Special salute to the Bunker Brigade. Those are the folks that are here each and every day. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you so much. If you're not a if you're not a subscriber of mine on YouTube, please become one. I love getting folks on board. So thanks for being part of what we're doing. Until tomorrow, my friend, I'm underground and gone.